Hey, good evening, everyone. We will now open up our regularly scheduled committee meeting night, this July the 8th. We'll get started with the Justice Center Public Safety Committee. Chairman Horner, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll call to the Justice Center Public Safety Committee to order. If there's anyone wishing to address the committee about agenda items only, may do so at this time.
Linda Noe, 2343 Joe Stevens Road. As usual, we're here with the Justice Center Committee, and as usual, it's another change order, number 22. It was about 2 years ago when you hired, or Mr. Britton hired, however way you want to look at it, you approved it, a jail or a construction attorney. Mr. Horner and Mr. Richardson and Mr. Britton went down and met with her. And as far as I know, no one else has heard from her. If you have, I'd love to know, because certainly she hasn't been at any meetings that I've seen. You haven't had an executive session with her. Everybody's in the dark. And I'm sure we're going to hear, oh, well, we're getting closer. So we'll be looking at trying to recover some of the taxpayer money really shortly. But nothing ever happens. I hope you will find out what is going on, whether it's from her, which I don't think you're going to get it from her, because I think it's all been turned over to Mayor Britton and Mr. Pettit to handle any negotiations. But it's time. It's time. When you hire somebody and they give you advice, you don't have to take it. Take it or leave it. But you've acted like you're going to do something, so do it. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to address? Not. Item 3A, old business, there is none. Item 4A, Justice Center project update, Tony Pettit, Burwell Construction.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I've got some pictures. Don't let me forget them. Let me give you the numbers first. Contract amount through change order number 21 is $94,786,836.11. Total work in place based on the June payment application is $84,792,237.11. That represents 89.46% complete, so we're getting closer and closer. The stored materials are now at $7,572,000, which brings down actual work in place of 81.47% complete. The masonry is nearing completion. The exterior work is ongoing. Detention equipment is continuing to be installed. Drywall continues. Mechanical, electrical, plumbing continues. Painting, we got final coats of painting coming along. Concrete floor polishing is ongoing. Some of the floors in the detention area are ongoing. And I think we're scheduled for a tour. You'll be able to see that on Thursday. Bring comfortable clothing, but closed-toe shoes and sleeves. So you'll be wearing a hard hat, and they're not cool either. Or they're cool, but they're not comfortable. Some of the detention equipment's sitting outside now. This is going to go, this very end here on the east side, west side, is going to be closed up in about a week, so they got to get a lot of this detention equipment up into the cell tower, jail cell tower. So that's some of the tables that's going to go up there. Here is the a picture of the detention area looking out toward the rec room. That big frame on the far end is your rec room divider between the outside and the inside. That's looking back almost at the same spot, looking back at the control tower that's in each level. That's a different section. They've color-coded these. The end user decided to color-code them, so we have blue areas and yellow, orange, different areas. It's been a while since I've showed you this maze in the back. This is behind the sales, back on the maintenance area. The contractors made a lot of effort to try to keep that as clear as possible to allow future maintenance on the work should we need it. This is up in the control tower looking out. One picture of it. That's kind of looking across the control tower where you see that this is a blue and yellow, and then beyond is another section. Looking out at the shorter wing, there's the floor polisher sitting there at the bottom of the stairs. This is the judge's area, one of the judge's offices out in the court room complex. Same office. This is the new file room. We had a change order on this one where we moved that wall this way 3 feet, so that works complete. This is the court of the clerks. Inside looking out, those 3 transaction windows. This is looking through the court of the clerk's office from a transaction windows further west. That's your entrance looking outside, standing kind of in the double doors. This is the alleyway where the judges will go up between the courtrooms and the cell detention tower. That's coming down that area, Esco Way. That's your loading dock, and your maintenance area is there behind the court detention cells. They're fixing to pour concrete there. You want to see a lot of improvements on the outside, dressing it up. This is where the trustees come in, day out. There's an officer station. You kind of get, it's dusty, but you kind of see the sheen where they've polished the floors. This is the trustees' rooms where they stay on the lower level. You'll see that Thursday. Back to the intake area. Again, at the intake area. There's some pictures of the drone shots. And we got our lettering up. We've all checked the spelling on it. So. So, any questions on that portion? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. I guess it's sort of directed at the sheriff as well, when you said that was the trustees part. Will that take the place of the work?
Courthouse, it will.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for answering that.
What time is the tour? What time?
The tour is at 4. Thank you.
4. When?
July the
Thursday.
11th.
Thursday, the 11th?
This coming Thursday.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Item 4B, change order 22. Tony Pettit.
Okay, so I've got 4 items on the change order. So I'm going over, I got a couple of photos of one of the change orders that's owner requested. But the first one is PCO 38, so we've been working on this one a while, trying to get the proper credit back. The updated drawing changed some reinforcing steel, and we got a credit of $6,548 on that. Basically, the steel was already there, fabricated when the drawing changed. So what we did was recycle the steel, and we that is a credit amount of $6,548. And interrupt me if you got a question on any of these. Way back at the very beginning, we had a constructability issue that they had the slab. If you recall, they had the slab tied against the precast, and we moved that out and issued a change order to the contractor to address that situation. When we moved it out, we had to put, if you recall, fireproof caulk and or, depending on when it was, just regular security caulk in it to allow that to be constructed. Because if you remember, I had tolerances on architectural precast versus steel erection, and that forced the joint. Well, what we didn't think about was at the top level on the third level of the detention tower, you don't have any sails. So the areas where the fireproofing went on all the other levels are in that area where I showed you all that maze of pipe and stuff, and the prisoners can't get to it. On the top level, we have bunk areas on the wing too. So at that, we still had to maintain the fireproofing, so we ended up putting a steel plate over that and plug weld it. And that detail is an additional piece of steel around those areas where the fire safing is. And this is what this change order is for. And it's $7,840. So we had to have the steel to cover the fire. PCO number 92 is an owner requested change. Oh, just right there. This is where PCO number 2 is going to go, and it's not a very good picture, Tony. That one's looking into it from the secure quarter, and this one is looking out from the holding area. As these prisoners are due for their day in court, they come and hold them in this area of the cell, and it's a secure area. And this change order that's in the amount of $23,000, this door didn't exist. So the only way to take them in and out was there was an elevator that's too dark to see right to the right, and in an emergency situation, you would have to move them through the courtroom. And after discussions with the end user and stuff, we decided that it'd be safer for those people in court to take these people in the holding cells out the corridor and add a door. Now, $23,000 seems expensive for a door.
It does.
It's a metal frame. It's got electronics. It's got you had to add security electronics. You had some demo because this door here you can't see because it's covered up with drywall, and there's a CMU wall there too, and they had to redo the wall. You had a lintel to get into it because it was just a solid wall. So there's more work to that, but the main cost is the door and the frame itself. And the contractor went ahead and got the frame because this is a long lead time, trying to get the project moving along, get the mason out of their way. And so they went ahead and got the frame, and then the door follows. So the door is not there yet, but it'll be here soon. But anyway, that's the reason for this security door. Let me show you. Here's the holding cell area. Right there's where the door's going. At one time, this was just a solid wall. There's an elevator here, and what happens is these prisoners are brought up from their holding cells below and brought in here into these areas while court is in session on both these sides. So there is an egress into the court here. The vestibule is right there, so that the attorneys can meet with them from the court side into the side. So they never mix between the two. There's never anybody loose. But the only way to get them out of in case of emergency was to take them through this vestibule. Right there's the other vestibule. So the elevator is the way up and down normally. In case of an emergency, they got an egress, the elevator's shut down. Fire marshal makes us shut them down, so they have to go out this way. Before, we didn't have that option, so that's what the change orders.
This need was discovered by the transition team, which is led by Gino Hambrick and 2 or 3 of the other corrections officers. And they were doing the emergency exit planning and discovered this need. So that's how this came about, is our transition team found this. And everybody agreed that it was a necessity. It wasn't, it's a need and not a want. And so that's what this is.
Any questions about that one? Thank you. Okay, so the next one is, I thought that one was complicated. This one's going to be even better. When we poured the slabs, when the contractor poured the concrete slabs on the elevated tower, there was a note in the structural drawings about specifically how to place those slabs. It told you that these slabs are made up of the thickness of the concrete, and it's got a Nelson stud welded to a beam, and that Nelson stud looks like a mushroom. It's made out of steel. And what happens is when that concrete sets, it locks on that Nelson stud, and so the slab itself is part of the structure. But the instructions allowed them, or told them specifically, not to shore that beam or deck. In other words, let it pour and let it deflect like like the engineer wanted. So when they did that, they made measurements, and it had deflected to a point where we were concerned about, actually what we were concerned about was the security caulk getting too wide. That happened to not be an issue. It gets wide, but not beyond the limits of the security caulk at the bottom of the cells. What happens is the designer has a requirement for safety that says that the bottom of the door of the jail cell shouldn't be more than 3/8 of an inch. Well, the deflection created that gap to be more than 3/8 of an inch. So their solution was, and then we went through several reiterations of this, their solution was to put in a door sweep or a bar across the door to close that gap down. That bar has to be, the door has to be taken off. The bar has to be welded to the door. It has to be ground. It has to be flat down. These are heavy cell doors. Put back up and treated, and that will take care of that gap. And that cost at one time was over $100,000. Now it's down to, it doesn't sound like a bargain either, $62,254. That is because of the deflection of the slabs exceeded that 3/8 of gallon allowance. As you recall, these are 2-story cells, so they have to set this slab, set those cells, when we all saw them stacked up out there, we have to set it to the lowest or highest point of the slab, and then everything has to be set together. You can't have them wobble through there. They all have to be set plumb. So all but about 8 of them have to have this bar. And this is the cost for that. It has to be done because of the warranty, it has to be done by the manufacturer of the cells. Steel cell has to come up from Baldwin, Georgia, and install these bars. So the cost is $62,264.
Mr. Pettit, don't dispute any of that. I have no idea. I know what you're talking about, a door sweep. What I don't understand is, you said the engineer said do it. You did it on his recommendation. It didn't work. okay? How is that the county's problem?
Amen.
You know, and that's one of those issues that I hire a contractor to build my house, and it's supposed to have a certain pitch on the roof. He puts a different pitch on it, and the water doesn't run off properly. The plans say do this, the engineer said do this, and they did the wrong thing or it didn't work out. Now you're saying, well, you're gonna have to come back and pay to fix it. There's no way that the county's responsible for that, and I'm just gonna say it, that screw up.
Amen.
There's no way. That's 62, and I haven't said a whole lot about all these change orders, but this one is, wow.
Yep.
I can't see that. I think there's time to put the foot down, and this is it.
Well, let me say this. You got to step on the right person.
I understand.
Okay.
I understand.
So everybody needs to understand that this is work that needs to be done because of safety, according to the designer, and that work needs to be done. And the contractor has performed for the structural instructions on the drawings, and then this is responsible for that. So,
I understand that, and I know that sometimes you get into a project of this size, and there's gonna be things come up that weren't foreseen, but you have to have them.
Yeah.
And if they had engineered them in, the cost would have been, we would have still have incurred the cost, we still had to have no issue. This is one of those issues where we shouldn't be covering this. You know what I'm saying? We approved the doors, we approved the concrete, we said pour it, the engineer said it was fine, and it's like you hang, not you, like they hang a door sideways. Well, we paid for the door, we paid for it to be installed, and it was hung crooked. Who's responsible there?
Well, the designer, the contractor has done what's on the drawings. No shoring. I mean, it was as specific to them. It's because I thought at first we should have shored that slab. Went back, and there's specific language on those notes in the drawings, those structural drawings, that say pour it and let it deflect.
Where did the breakdown come in? The engineer?
Yes.
Okay, so it wasn't us, it wasn't you, but you're the man that's here.
Yep.
You know, you get to take all the good compliments that we pass out. But the bottom line is, that's $62,000 that the county's just not responsible for. And that's the line in the sand this time, Mr. Pettit.
Well, I'm not arguing for it. I'm with you, okay? I agree with you. But you either got to live with the gap, which the designer says is unsafe.
How is it unsafe?
I've asked that question, but they say things can pass back and forth.
Well, 3/8, or how much is the gap?
It's as much as 1 1/4 in some of the worst spots.
Okay, 3/8, so 3/8 or 1 1/4.
Right.
I mean, come on. $62,000?
I'm just bringing you the news.
And that's what I say, you know, we're not shooting the messenger here.
I understand.
And I don't mean that, but I have to vent,
I
and
agree
you're
with
the
you.
guy that gets to
It is
vent.
on a list
Right.
that we talk about with issues. I have a thing I call pits because it's not fun to talk about. It's project issue tracking sheet. It's on there to be talked about.
We're gonna have to have some serious discussions about it.
But the contractor has got to have authorization to proceed to repair it, or there's got to be a consensus somewhere that we're going to live with the gap.
Well, has it
My
been?
question is, when do we talk about it?
We've got that scheduled, a 75% review this month.
75%?
Well, I've always suggested we have a 25% meeting, a 50% meeting, and 75% to talk about these project issue tracking things. And we have that scheduled this month.
Will we be told the results of some of these meetings?
Yes,
Like this one right here Bobby's talking about?
yes,
Can I ask a question?
absolutely.
Let me be more direct. Will we be at that meeting? Will it be something be brought to commission so that we will all be aware? I agree with Bobby 100%. That is something Hamblen County citizens should not have to bear, because we have had some humdingers And you sure told us the truth when you told us the worst was yet to come. I'll grant you true to your faith. But that should not be something. And we hired a contract attorney, and not once have I seen a report all this time. I've seen the bills where we paid it, nonstop, where they've had meetings and whatever, but I have not seen one report. Where are the reports? And you said there was a meeting at 75%. My question is, I caught a figure of 89% earlier. So why have we not already had that meeting so that we were up to speed as representatives of the Hamblen County citizens?
Schedule a meeting as quick as I could to get everybody there.
understand.
It should be in the meeting, so.
Oh, now, I agree with Bobby. It's not something we should have to eat. We've been fed a whole lot that tasted pretty rotten, to be honest with you.
I don't disagree with Commissioner Hahn.
I agree, well, I understand that. But to be honest with you, there needs to be some accountability. It's long overdue.
The thing I'm trying to stress now is this change order is with the contractor. Contractor did as instructed on the drawings, and as soon as that slab was poured, he brought it to the designer's attention. So they've known it's been out there for a while.
Okay.
I get that. I mean, I understand, but somebody's responsible.
Amen.
And if you come in there and say that, just like with the door, you know, that was a necessity, we'll incur the cost of that. I don't have a problem with that. I wish we didn't have to do it, but we do. That's for safety issues. Okay, and you say this is for safety issues, but no, we did nothing wrong, Your Honor, and we don't want to pay the consequences for that.
Amen. Now, if I understand you correctly, this rolls back to the architect. Am I understanding correctly?
Yes,
And these folks were supposed to have built jails before, correct?
yes.
Well, I'd hate to see what they built.
A question, and basically for the sheriff, what do you see as an issue with this gap underneath these cell doors?
I don't see a half-inch difference will make a difference, period. They, what do you call kites? They throw things out to other cells. That's what they're doing, but in this design, they're going to throw it left or right. They can't send it across. There's no one across from it.
So in your estimation, this is not something that needs to be corrected?
I don't think that it's a big deal if it's a difference within maybe a half inch in what it should be.
We've discussed this a whole lot, and we cannot find where TCI, I got that acronym right, requires. We've even had the discussions about Andy Griffin and reaching through the bars and stuff. I mean, that's how they used to build cells, but this is a,
Is it a requirement from TCI?
no, not that we have found yet. Contractors chased that down a little bit. Could not find it.
I don't think so.
Mr. Pettis, what's with the other 8 that they came out perfect, or? You said there were 8 that
Well,
did,
when you pour that slab, you got a real heavy beam here,
yes, sir.
and a real heavy beam here, and then when you get to the middle, it swags. And it's like stepping on a 2x12. You step close to the edge of that 2x12 between
Yes, sir.
step ladders, and then in the middle, it sags.
Okay.
Now, to alleviate fears there, once that concrete cured around that Nelson stud, they put block, they put equipment, nothing else has made that thing sag. It was the weight of the concrete that deflected the slab. So once it cured, it stopped.
How thick is that concrete there?
I should know that. I think it's 5 inches.
So another half-inch of concrete wouldn't solve the,
Heavier beam would have solved it.
yes, sir, okay.
Yeah, concrete doesn't adhere to itself. So it would just fall off.
Amen.
Mr. Pettit. So this is going over the door, when you're saying a threshold, just like a regular doorway threshold, right? Why could we, if it's just a gap there, why can't we caulk that gap off?
It's a swing. It's a swinging door.
Right.
So they want that door to be within 3/8 or half inch of that
When it
floor.
shuts.
Okay?
I mean, but that's an expensive, if you break that down, that's almost $500 a threshold. I mean, that's an expensive threshold.
We've
know.
kicked it around a whole lot. We've tried to say, you know, Otis got to go into the jail and he reached the.
But I mean, again, this is, and what's the guarantee? And I know you said the concrete's cured, but what's to say that we don't run into a problem that crack starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger?
It's not a crack. It's just when we poured the concrete,
Well, it's,
The contractor.
it's
It just
a
sat.
gap, but what's to say that gap will not get bigger?
it's not moved since they placed the concrete. They've monitored that too, because there was a concern about.
But we're only, what, a year since we poured the concrete?
Once it's solid, the concrete became solid, the Nelson studs did their work. The beams had deflected all they were going to deflect. And it's held from the, and we've put the siding walls in, we put all the doors in, we put all the mechanical equipment in, and it stayed right where it is.
Here's the problem. You got a beam.
So, after you had the wet concrete on the deck, metal deck, it made it
You
safe.
got a Nelson stud here.
And once it cured,
Let's move the Nelson stud
we
here.
grabbed hold of that Nelson stud.
Yeah.
and
So the concrete is poured
It's solid.
in this.
Unfortunately, it's got a deflection.
And this is.
How noticeable is it from just looking at
So
it?
you got an inch and a half.
Well, you
gap
can
where it
tell.
works.
Not, I mean, it's
So when you
a
put
jail,
the,
it's a jail.
Yeah, I
put
understand.
the,
Okay.
We don't want our prisoners to
Nope,
complain about the
nobody,
aesthetics.
nobody would, probably notice it.
they've been doing this for a long
Probably
time.
be
I
watching something
understand.
else.
And I don't know why he's
That's
doing
all
it,
they got to complain
because
about.
it's not
I've got a question, just,
We're taking it
got folks to think about. We're going over our Thursday. Why don't we look at it when we're over there, and we can make a determination? Hey, is this, if you could have maybe the contractors pick out the worst, and we could see what the worst-case scenario is while we're over there.
One of the assistant superintendents has made this thing to measure, where he didn't have to bend over
Mhm.
200-something times. And he goes through there and he's marked them on a drawing. We went over and argued the point.
Yeah, I'm talking about for
Point
our
about,
own.
do we need 3/8 of an inch? And the designer is saying, for safety's sake, we want, I think they did relax it to reduce some of the doors to half inch. So it added 4 more doors that were good. Wasn't a lot.
I just can't see it.
Commissioner Ahern?
Yes, sir. So am I to understand, if Sheriff Mullins says, we don't have to do this, we don't have to fix this, and you're saying that you don't have anyone else telling you that we have to do this, do we have to do this?
I don't think so, but I have a contractor that's asking TCI, okay? So sometimes a contractor wants to hear what he wants to hear. I'm accused of sometimes by my spouse. So maybe you could reach out to TCI and ask them.
I'll see if I can have a representative from
requirement?
TCI there Thursday.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the issue we have here is the change order's got that in it. I don't know how you pass the other 3 PCOs if you want to hold on this change order. You can't approve the change order as it's submitted, but the door we talked about, it's urgent. So
Can you draw up another change order?
I'm going to ask the architect to do that.
Lickety split and then, okay.
Just delete that one. I don't know if there's a mechanism to.
Let me ask you a hypothetical question.
Yeah,
That door that you cut out and put in,
yes.
what if we didn't approve that change order?
They went at risk. There's a relationship that they felt to help prevent delays and stuff like that. They went at risk.
We got to draw the line.
Didn't approve it, we'd have to take the frame out, make them eat it, and hurt their feelings, and put the block back there.
Let's be reminded also that that is a customer requested.
It is, yes, no,
Yeah.
I was just saying.
Yeah,
that.
that's a good
That's-
question, and
Okay.
I've been caught that way too before.
So may I suggest to Chairman Horner that maybe, Mayor, you may want to chime in that we approve what we can here in regards to it coming to us in the next 10 days. I mean, that we can set aside the 3/8 gap.
PCO number 93.
Yes.
Everything's, you could do it that way.
I mean,
Back through it and do the math, redo the math.
Oh, I was looking here on the specific page.
What we'll do is we'll have the architect prepare another change order without this, what we're talking about, the $63,000 thing. And then come commission day, we'll choose original with or without $63.
Okay.
After you do more due diligence.
Okay.
Here and there.
okay.
So do you need a motion to that effect to,
I think it'd be good.
Would allow number.
Out of committee.
92 to keep going.
I have one more question here, and I just need to clarify this. On the potential change order number 93, it says 62,000 plus. And then on the breakdown for the expenses for the door skirts, it gives us a total of 58,000 plus. About a $4,000. What's,
It's their markup. It's the contractor's
Say
markup.
92 and 93.
thank you.
and that's designated in the contract documents?
How much they can.
You're right.
I think contractors would be happy with it. Just don't do it.
So we need a motion
Yes, I think,
without,
let's discuss this. I just think that we go ahead and motion of the idea that there'll be two separate, one with and one without, and we can move forward and be ready to move in 10 days. That we, PCO,
If I may.
yes,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve a partial approval of change order number 22 with two separate options, one being for a total of the $86,899, which would include potential change order 93. The second, which would be $24,635, which would be without potential change order 93. I put that in form of a motion.
there you go.
have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. Any more discussion? Not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Seeing none? That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Horner. Justice Center Public Safety Committee. We'll now move into Finance Committee. Chairman Hahn, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll call our Finance Committee to order. Anyone wishing to address the committee about agenda items only may come to the podium at this time. See none. Number 3, our recurring business, expenditure report, our monthly checks. Again, you can look at those at your leisure. No old business. We move down to item number 5A, new business, inmate food service. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One thing that the Sheriff's Department operates that I like to talk about when I make presentations in public is the Sheriff's Department operates the largest hotel and restaurant in the county.
I bet.
And they serve in meals over 341,000 meals a year in the jail. So so it's a big task. And 5 years ago, we contracted with a firm called Trinity Food Service that prepares meals or operates a inmate food service program for jails all over the country. And we entered a 5-year contract with them. And during that 5 years, we started at 95.5 cents a meal with terms of the contract. There was an escalation clause. The first 3 years, there were no increases. And then today, it's at $1.08 per meal, which is about, over the time of the contract, about a 2.5% increase per year in the cost of food in the jail, and the annual food inflation rate during that period has been about 4%. So Trinity Food Service has performed well for us. And so what we've negotiated with them is a renewal of their contract, another 5-year renewal. In year one is at the same rate, $1.08 a meal. And then every year in the spring, we evaluate the cost of food and the operations, and we can adjust that price if need be. But for year one of this agreement, it's $1.08 per meal. And there's also a $60,000 investment. They call it an investment in equipment. But basically what they're doing is they're giving us a $60,000 to draw from to buy equipment for the new kitchen. And so there is one piece of equipment that the staff knows that they're going to need that we don't have, and that is a natural gas tilt skillet that's $50,000. So this money that Trinity Food Service would provide for us would buy that tilt skillet, or they would buy it for us, and then we would install it, and then have $10,000 to buy other utensils and that kind of thing. So I guess the bottom line is, and the request here is to renew the Trinity Food Service contract for another 5-year period with a $60,000 investment for equipment that they would provide, and the cost of the first year of the meals would be $1.08. And one thing Trinity does that is required by TCI is they prepare all the menus, they prepare all the dietary documentation that is needed to submit to TCI, and they do all that work. Our staff doesn't have to do that. And that can be, you have to have a certified dietitian to do it, and so they do all that work for us. So.
Do we have a motion to accept?
So moved. Beg your pardon, I can't. Hold on.
Need someone else.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Doty.
Second.
Second from Mr. Richardson. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
You said that they prepared the dietary requirements. I am curious. I was talking to some of them that had been there that were pregnant at the time, and they had not gotten what I would call the food that they should have had to be carrying a child. Is there any way that we can look to see what they are feeding our pregnant inmates so that we don't have to face another lawsuit?
They do all the special dietary, whether it be religion-based, whether it be health-based, they do all that. And they've got guidelines to go by.
Okay.
And so, my opinion, they go by those guidelines. And you know, about this one person that's complaining, I don't know anything about that, but they're well qualified to take care of all those.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
just a comment. When I was reading the report, there's a registered dietitian that's oversees the meal planning, and that's a wonderful thing to have a registered dietitian in that, and they have to adhere to all the rights of preparing meals, so it's probably very, very legit as far as having a registered dietitian.
Anyone else have any? Yes.
Thank you. Do we have any, do you know how much waste or, I mean, it's the only menu in town, so I just hope it's consumed.
They don't eat, somebody else does.
Okay, good point.
I didn't catch what he said. I'm sorry.
He said
They
if
don't
if-
eat it, somebody else does.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions?
Just another comment too, looking on the cost of meals. I help deliver meals through the Senior Citizen Center, and the seniors are charged, on the meal program, $2 a meal, and that's very inexpensive. So if our inmates are receiving it for $1, I mean, you can't buy a meal for $1. So I think that's a wonderful attribute to the
I don't either.
to the program.
How they do it.
I don't know how they do it. Anyone else? Thank you, Ms. Ahern. All right, let's vote the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion does pass. Item 5B, budget amendments. First of all, we have Fund 101, Drug Court, $20,877.67. Finance Director, Ms. Amanda Hayes.
Before you tonight is the drug court, and it is to move, when the budget passed for this year we're going into, the director's salary was allocated 70% to drug court and 30% to mental health court. Based on some guidance from the state that we've received, they prefer that the director's salary be allocated completely to one program. So this budget amendment is taking money from the other contracted services budget and allocating that money so that 100% of PD's salary now will be charged to drugs.
Do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Mr. Harville, do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Howell,
Yes, sir.
any questions? Let's vote the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Ms. Howell. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Hahn. Moving right along, we will now call on Real Estate Committee. Chairman Mike Reed, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Real Estate Committee will meet at this time. You have the agenda there in your booklet. Visitors wishing to address the committee about agenda items only, you have 3 minutes to speak. Anyone wish to address the committee? Agenda item number 3, new business. This is the August tax sale list. Hello, Mr. Scotty Long, trustee.
Mr. Chairman, this is a list that I'm submitting to you of 29 parcels, which we have been advertising. These are the ones that will be sold in August, unless there will be people come forth and pay on. My prediction is it'll probably be down to 15. I just need you guys to approve this list. There's no reason that we should not buy any of these parcels back in if there was a no bid.
Do we have a motion to approve this list?
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Ahern, question. Second. One moment. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All right, now question.
Question. Scotty, from I looked at this list, I can remember back just a few years ago, this thing would have been 2 pages long.
Yes, sir.
What do you contribute that to? That is.
That man right there.
Right there. And I'm looking, I don't see anything on here that's been on there for 10 years either.
No, Wayne, we're closed it to within 4 years. So next year, we're at 21 and going forward. Just persistence, sending out bills, recollecting, calling people, that kind of thing. And plus, we have sold property, and which is what by state statute we should do. Now, people say, well, you sold this guy's property. They still have 1 year to redeem that property after we sell this property. Follow me? We still have 1 year, and we're only paying 1% interest versus 1.65 in court. So the people need to notify them. We're actually going out this year and doing public notice. So I would just say, my staff, everybody, rebuilding, working, persistency. Letting people know you got to pay.
These, I know them dates, a lot of times they were 8, 9 years.
Yeah. We don't have it anymore.
What do you got?
What's
the most you've got? 2 years?
No, 4 years.
4 years.
Wayne, that's like, when I came in as trustee, we were at 95% collection. We're now at 99.98, 99 nines in all those past years. See, what we were collecting when we were selling those properties, we were collecting, going back as far as 10 years, because after 10 years it rolls off. So
What's making them pay up?
I understand the property sold.
Property sold? Is that because of what your office is doing, or is that what?
Yeah, I mean, sure, we're doing what we're required.
You're doing more of the tax collecting, and you're collecting taxes more now than it had been in the past.
Yes, sir. We're at we're almost 98% on 23 bills. We only turned over, I'm kind of thinking, less than 1.5% to the clerk this year, which would be 22s.
Must be working pretty good, because I was looking at some of these amounts. They're chicken feed what they used to be.
Oh, yeah.
They used to be $20,000, $18,000.
Yeah, they are. Thank you.
Compared to what they are, I think it's just one here over 1,000.
Do we have other questions or comments?
Just real quick, Mr. Long, I look over here and I see Newport, White Pine.
Those are the to the right. The first column here where you see the address, Dandelion Circle, Charles Allen. Okay, that's the physical address of the property, the parcel number. Over to the right is a mailing address that is different from the parcel.
That's what I thought.
So some of these properties are owned. I mean, there's one property here owned by people in Atlanta. Others, publicize it and do it.
Very good. Thank you. You're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Anything else? If not, we have a motion and a second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Reed. Thank you, sir. We'll now move into Public Services Committee. Chairman Richardson, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, any visitor wishing to address the committee about agenda items only, you have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, we'll go on to old business. There is none. New business 4A, noise issue report. And so this is an ongoing investigation, I'm going to call it. In the last couple of weeks, I've reached out to talk about business license. I've talked to people about sample codes. I've reached out to CTAS. I received 28-page report with 17 different municipalities of what they do. So we have this body and a body back in 2002 or 3 has, I guess, passed a resolution that says we all should have the quiet enjoyment of our own property. And from there, we have the ability to call law enforcement, have people come out and, I guess make a case for citation. And we've had that for a long time. But it doesn't seem to satisfy all the requirements. People are asking for government to be more involved in this. So what I'm asking for tonight would be approval from the commission to talk to our county attorney to see how far we have to go to take this. It appears that we're going to have some sort of document like this, if this is the route we choose, and a preamble, a definition, some regulations, some exemptions, some special noise permits. It's a lot of legal documentation. Well, I'm not going to say that.
Dotting i's and crossing t's.
That will allow us to, I'm going to say, bring the box in closer to what we're trying to do. For instance, this is interesting reading, but there's times, and there's different times for, I was going to do this real quick here. There's different times that people want to have their quiet enjoyment and some different noise regulations. So if you go to the, this one document here asks for between 10 p.m. and 6:59 a.m., a residential area should have only 40 decibels. Right now, this thing is at 75 decibels. Now, there's other things that say go, to the property line, 50 feet past the property line, take this meter, if it's certified, with a person that is certified to use this and document all this. So I'm just saying, it's 62, 77. There's also other things in here that interesting about 24-hour period and repetitions, noise occurring within the jurisdiction, a distance of 25 feet away from the noise source, located within the public right-of-way. There's all kinds of legalistic things that we have to do. Yelling and shouting is pets, cars. We have to make a determination of what we're willing to look at or not look at. The one that interests me is ambient noise. Right now is at 44. Ambient noise in here. Ambient noise, a weighted level, is the total sound pressure level of all noises measured within the sound level meter using an A-weighted network. Unit of measurement is the decibels, blah, blah, blah. And it goes into the decibel is 1/10 of a bell and is a unit of level when the base of the logarithm is 10th root of 10 and the quantity is concerned. So what this tells me is we can't just say quiet enjoyment and have it as quiet enjoyment. There's going to have to be something to put teeth to, and this could get real complicated. So my question to you is, can I go talk to our county attorney and spend money to have his opinion involved in this? Even though we've had two resolutions in 23 and 2003 that kind of do the same thing. So this is the stuff that I've gathered. I'm asking for guidance.
I'd like to.
Yes.
If a citizen said, and called the sheriff and said, they're disturbing the peace, what is that, disorderly, we don't need a meter for disorderly, even though I'm up to 68. But, we just, without, I guess, how do we help our citizens enjoy the peace and quiet when somebody is being disorderly? And could we not say, good golly, this is the third time this month officers have been out to this venue and you have been disorderly, the neighbors have called in without a meter, just that, would that work? Could that work with a permit and say, if they're called out, 2 times, the third time is we're pulling the plug. I guess that's where I want to go. Thank you.
I make a motion that we go ahead with our county attorney and get the legalese taken care of. I don't understand half of what you said there. I'm sorry, Mike. But
yeah, we needed it in English.
We need to put it in English, but I think we need to move ahead with this. I think this is what our citizens want. And I certainly think we need to get with our county attorney, Mr. Capps, and let's see if we can get this thing going. We've been kicking this thing down the road for a couple of years now, so something specific that we can get some teeth to.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
In order to enforce it, you got to have some kind of guidelines. There has to be some guidelines to enforce, to get teeth. I mean,
Correct.
There's people who live on the train tracks. I mean, you want them calling and saying, hey, the train's coming by here. You know.
Well, that goes back to the definitions and what we want to regulate.
Right.
And that's where the attorney has to tell us, yes, it's, something that can be. And in the meter, I asked one of the judges, and he said, that even with the meter, sometimes it doesn't work. You got to have something that you can document and show teeth to it, present it to the court. It's, certified.
The person has to be certified.
And the meter. You can't just take this out. So.
Mr.
We
Chairman.
have a motion, 1 second, please.
thank
Yeah,
you.
you can continue, but he does have a motion on the floor if
Yes, sir.
you might want to
Okay,
address
so
that.
we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Any discussion?
Yes, sir. I'd like to ask the sheriff a question. You go out right now, so he spoke of a citation. Exactly how do you handle it right now with nothing there to put teeth to it, sir?
Advise them there's a complaint, most people will comply and turn it down. We're just having this one issue with this red barn.
You've not gotten any other calls other than what you call the red barn? You've not got any calls on anything else at all?
We don't have any now. No. We had for the 4th of July fireworks, yeah.
What about that one up on the east end where the guy shot himself in the foot?
It's been sold, up from my understanding.
Okay.
What about the one off of Deering Road? The guy,
That's a residence.
It's not a venue, that's a residential issue.
okay, so is that disorderly? When he plays bad words out loud on Easter Sunday morning, and the entire congregation and all the neighbors 100, 200 feet away can hear that, would that not be disorderly?
I don't know what Judge Collins would do with that.
Well, I'd like to give Judge Collins a chance to.
Correct it.
Yeah, I'd like that person to face him and say, maybe he would throw it out. Maybe he would say, by the way, I'm throwing it out, but you're gonna have to pay blah, 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 because you can't, because you have been, I don't know what he'd say.
It's my understanding that for that to happen,
Yes,
somebody
sir.
has to be willing to come to court and say, hey, look, there's a citation, I'm gonna go to court with this. And
Oh, like the
The
neighbor?
neighbor
The
would have
neighbor,
to
okay. But the other guy would be drug in. I mean, he would be,
issue
yeah,
a warrant,
yeah,
basically.
okay.
Chairman Richardson?
Yes.
So at this time, do you issue citations or warn? That's my question.
Do what now?
At this time, do you just issue a citation or you just warn? In other words, don't do that, quit, whatever?
Most of the time, that's what we do, yes.
So,
And it works for
So-
most people.
you're the authority at this point. So what do you think you need to take care of this?
We're gonna have to have some type of ordinance for us to be able to write citations.
Thank you.
Okay, and that goes back from what I have found that, to the Planning Commission and agribusiness, issues. There's nothing now that zones or ordinances, agribusiness. So this brings in us, the Planning Commission, Sheriff's Department. There's a lot of moving parts to it. It's not just simple saying, I was hoping it would be this simple. You have the right for enjoyment,
Me too.
and that should be the way it should be. But it's obviously not working for one instance.
People just don't respect each other anymore.
Right. Mr. Neesmith?
Bottom line, we need this noise cut down to take care of our citizens that's doing
Amen.
the complaining.
Amen.
That's your bottom line. That's what you're after. You want to get this noise down. But in the last meeting I was at, when Capps was here, he mentioned that these people need to go out and get them an attorney and have suit against the people. So he's throwing it back on the people to take care of the noise.
I think what he was referring to there was whatever we do is a $50 fine. It's a $50 fine for that person. No matter what we come up with here and how, involved we want to be with this, if he has a citation, it's a $50 fine.
If you got the guy at the Red Barn with $50 ticket, and he's making $5,000 that night,
It ain't
he's
gonna
gonna pay his
bother.
ticket.
Yeah, I would.
Cost of doing business.
All day
Yeah,
long.
Yeah, I would put the $50 fee on the,
Yeah.
I can see the sheriff, he's gotta know how loud too loud is.
Amen.
But then the
can't
point
do that.
How loud
becomes,
is too loud?
Huh?
How loud is too loud?
That's right.
It's an opinion, and without something definite,
yeah,
my opinion, I got ringing in the ear. I got tinnitus. It's ringing all the time. That gets really loud, but you can't hear it,
well, again, we're talking about some of these decibel readings. We're at 75 decibels right now, and that's above the limit at night. This is just conversation.
But if your neighbor's having a conversation in their house or on their porch, at your house, you probably couldn't hear it.
No.
So it's, the distance away would make
25 feet from the property line and
Sure.
whatever. And that's part of where the legalese comes in.
Right, and we need legal help here.
if this will lead to the ordinance that we need, okey dokey.
Step in the right direction.
Okay, is there any more discussion?
It's
Not-
been kicked down the road way too long already. Our
let's-
citizens deserve some relief.
Call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, a like sign. So the motion carries. I'll get with Mr. Capps. That's all I have.
Chairman Richardson, thank you, sir, and thank you for your work in this. I know it's been
Amen.
cumbersome, but I do thank you for all you're doing with this. We'll now move to our Calendar and Rules Committee. Chairman Doty, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I call the Calendar and Rules Committee meeting to order. Do we have any visitors wishing to address this committee on agenda items only? Seeing none, we'll move forward. Item 3, old business, we have none. Item 4, new business. 4A, review of the regular calendar items. And would like for everyone to remember that there is a change at that one on number 7A, which is Justice Center Public Safety Committee. And that is that we will have 2 options to vote on at the regular call meeting, one including potential change order 93 and one that does not include potential change order 93. Those differences are $86,899 with and $24,635 without. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Mr. Warner, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Helm, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 4B, review of consent calendar items. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Helm. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Horner. Thank you, sir. Any discussion? All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Doty. Of the Calendar and Rules, folks, that completes our agenda. I will address from the chair tonight an issue that has been before us. It is a fluid condition at best. There's still movement here, but I want to update you what is known. The actual date at Commissioner Free vacated her position with the Road Commission has not been fully determined. We do believe, we have reason to believe that it could have been as far back as March of 2022. We have reason to believe that. Now, Mayor Britton has sent a letter asking for reimbursement of the compensation that she's received, and he has not heard back from her at this point. We expect her to contact him, and then we can determine exactly when she left. It's my understanding she attended meetings after she may have left. It's a fluid situation. There's a lot of information yet to be had. But the point is, we do know there is speculation she could have been gone as early as March of 2022. And the mayor has asked for reimbursement of this money dating back to that point. That said, moving forward, this commission, I'm going to ask this commission to look at a possibility that we send out a resolution to each compensation-bearing commission, that we have some kind of guideline where they sign in and they attest that they are representing, they live in the commission district that they are representing. When you sign that paper that particular day, that not only you're signing that you are in attendance, but that you do attest that I represent the district that I live in. So that can be worked on in the near future. That's not today, but yet that is something that I expect that we could take up and ask other commissions to do so. Like the Election Commission and Planning Commission, they do not represent districts. They are appointed, and they're not elected. Road Commission is an elected position. Therefore, it's a little different standard. That said, there's work to be done yet. I just want the bottom line to be known. It is being looked at, and we'll report as that information comes available. That said.
Chairman Cutshaw.
Yes, ma'am.
Quick question. Did you know in April of '24 that...
Ma'am, that's out of order. I'm not answering. It's out of order. I did not know. If I did know, I heard from you guys. I didn't know. The road commission has a responsibility. That person that is elected has a responsibility to, I don't know the answer to your question other than I heard that she vacated. I think the chairman of that commission should have notified this county commission that that person had vacated that position. I didn't know that. It's not our job to police that. However, when it came to us, we started divesting all this, getting the right information, and moving forward. That's where we're at today.
A quick question. We fill out with ethics each year to verify that we live where we live. Would that not have sufficed and told the tale?
I do not know that answer.
Well, I know we have to attest to it each year. It's the reason I asked,
That is why I just made the motion or the idea that we will be taking up, and this commission will ask each compensated bearing commission that they attest, that they represent the district that they represent, and that they are in fact in attendance in that particular month.
And I have the private act for the road commissioner with me, if any of you want to look at it. I have copies for each and every one of you if you want to look at it.
What was that? I missed that.
I have copies of the private act that governs the road commission. Hold on, I'll just go ahead and pass them out here. If you don't care, pass it around. That way you've got it. I went ahead and looked it up so we would have it. I also looked up that the point that if a public official knowed of someone that had moved, they were bound by the fraud technicalities for the state to report it.
Who do you want to put in jail? Because I don't know who to put in right now.
I don't know who to put in, but I think we need to be accountable.
Ms. Green, there was a mistake made. It was overlooked. You tell us who you want to put in jail and we'll do it.
Well, I think we need to be accountable, sir.
We are trying to be accountable. Do you understand that? That this body is looking at being accountable right now. We're backing up and trying to do so and rectify the situation the best we can. This is new. This is new. I think there was a mistake made, and we're trying to rectify it. So tell me, who do you want to put in jail?
I just want some accountability, sir.
Well, we're working
and transparency.
on that. I think
it's necessary.
I stated that from the chair.
I think it's
Anyone
necessary.
else?
Mr. Chairman, it's not our job to police them. They're their own, they're elected. We should have been notified by them that there was an issue. And I didn't hear about it till April either. And that was because it was sent from the Jeff Gardner's office.
Right.
That she had changed her voting. And that was in April. So, you know, I don't know when everybody else
That's
knew, but
it.
that's when I knew.
I agree. It was just, it's unfortunate, and we dig a little bit, and we find it goes deeper than we thought. They should have known. Therefore, we're gonna try to back up and rectify the situation. All minds clear? We're adjourned.
Here's for your information.
Oh, okay.